Hello and welcome to our segment, Cut Through the Noise, where today we answer your questions that we've been hearing throughout the month. Today we're talking about charitable giving, child tax credits. Should I use cash or should I finance my purchases and potential student loan debt forgiveness? Stay tuned. Okay, Anthony, so let's kick it off. The first question we have here is, I want to incorporate charitable giving into my budget. How do I start doing this?
Yeah, first is starting with the goal, know what you're aiming for. I always counsel people, put it as a priority. If you're going to be giving, don't wait till the end of the month because you will run out of money. Start at the beginning, give from the top, and then the same thing goes with like savings, is if you're going to prioritize it, put it in the budget first, pay it at the beginning of the month, and then go from there.
Absolutely, because if you prioritize it, you'll make sure it gets done. Otherwise, like you said, you'll wait till the end of the month, all the money trickles down, and I only have this much left to give.
Most people wait until they're making more, and that doesn't quite work. Be faithful with a little, you're faithful with much. So.
Absolutely.
All right, next question for you. Any suggestions for what to do with the child tax credits that are coming in the mail?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so I think really this applies to folks who don't necessarily need the funds, right? There's a lot of families who they are getting this payment and it's immediately being used for either food, rent, utilities, things like that. But there are a group of folks, a group of families who don't necessarily need that extra income coming in for their cash flow. And so what do you do with it? Well, I think the worst thing you can do is start increasing your spending, right? You start spending more.
Get used to it. Yeah.
Exactly. What a smart thing to do can be is to literally invest that money for your child's future.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't have to be complex. You could set up an account for your child, but if you want to just keep it simple, open up an account in your name and start putting the money away and earmark it for them for the future, rather than again either spending it or just having it idly sit in cash.
Yeah, because these are in advance of a tax credit, and so they are temporary in terms of them coming directly to people. So therefore, using it for something specific makes a lot of sense.
All right, next question. So interest rates are low, and this is a good question because a lot of people are wondering, should I pay for something with cash or should I finance it? And let's just take an example like a car.
Right. Yeah, interest rates are low, so money is cheap out there. I think in some ways it's becoming a bit of a trap for people, is that more and more people are taking on debt, and I think that's where you need to be careful. So yeah, it's a good benefit, interest is low, but at the same time we need to be smart about it because interest rates are going to go up at some point. The economy's cycle, and so there are a lot of things to be mindful of.
Yeah, it's a good question. And we actually wrote down some questions that maybe you can ask yourself when you're trying to decide, right? Should I pay for cash or should I finance? Is the low interest rate fixed or variable? Because that can have a big determining factor whether or not you want to finance or pay with cash. How much equity cushion do you have? Let's say if you're borrowing on a property, right? You don't want to have that debt to value too high. Right. Are the payments sustainable if you have a reduction of income, right? And that's the thing about debt, is debt presumes upon a certain future. Right. We don't exactly know what the future holds.
Things can change quickly.
Exactly. And then again, finally, it's just, do you have a plan to repay, right? You don't want to take on debt with the assumption, I'll just pay it off in the future. Have a game plan ahead of time if you are taking on debt.
We don't have all complete certainty, but certainly keeping those things in mind and being prepared for when things change makes a lot of sense. All right, last question, Alex. Should I pay off student loans or wait to see if there is forgiveness?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I know it's on a lot of people's minds, especially those, recent college grads or even those in college wondering, hey, I'm going to rack up a lot of student loan debt. What should I do here? A couple of things to note is debt payments have been paused until the end of January, right? That's been extended again. It's been extended a couple times now. But the Department of Education has essentially come out and said, this is going to be the last one. This is going to be the last extension we're going to see. Exactly. We'll see. Now, a couple things that are important to note about this is, in the stimulus plan that was pushed through by the Biden administration, there are certain clauses within that stimulus package that state essentially forgiveness of student loan debt is non-taxable. Now, some people might be brushing that off, but that's really important because before, if you were to relieve student loan debt, the relief amount would become taxable to you. Okay. Right now, what they're saying is it's going to be non-taxable. Now, a lot of people are saying this is essentially setting the table for a mass student loan debt forgiveness. Okay, Whether or not that's actually going to happen, I mean, we'll see. It could take a long time. I think it's possible we could see some sort of mass partial student loan debt forgiveness.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know if it's necessarily something you should bank on.
Right. There's a lot of people within both parties that are against this, or some sort of full forgiveness. So.
Yeah, and so what should people do between now and when the debt forgiveness ends? I mean, I think what a smart thing to do is, whatever your normal monthly payment was going to be, don't necessarily spend it, right? Maybe you actually do keep that set aside in cash, so when the payments do resume, you have that money there, and it gives you flexibility. Should you choose to take that money and plop it down on the principal to pay it down lower, you can, but it just gives you a lot more cushion and flexibility.
Yeah, stay in control of your own financial situation. Don't wait for some law to pass.
Absolutely. So this is our segment, Cut Through the Noise. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have a question that you would like us to answer, you can send us an email at admin@onedegreeadvisors.com. In the subject line, just put Cut Through the Noise and then enter your question, and we'll do our best to make sure we answer it next time on our Cut Through the Noise segment. Stay tuned.